So next up we're talking about Resident Evil 7. How
Bum,
does
bum, bum,
Capcom
bum.
make Resident Evil great again?
That's just
I
my
hope so.
working headline.
Yeah,
and
I said it very dramatically. How
Well, I
does
mean-
Capcom make Resident Evil great again?
So let's look at this, right? I guess Resident Evil 4 is probably the last thing considered to be a great Resident
Well, and
Evil game.
so read where this is coming from.
Capcom's recent financial results include a mysterious reference to the company's plans for Resident Evil series. It was spotted by a NeoGAF user Chobel that said Capcom's most recent investor reports tease a full-scale offensive for the Resident Evil series, possibly indicating the release of at least one more Resident Evil game besides the upcoming Umbrella Corps before the end of the financial year on March 31st, 2017.
Yeah, and so Capcom in an earnings call said that Umbrella Corps, which is releasing right after E3, is just the
Is that how you say that? Is that
Core.
not said corpse?
Yes.
Wow.
That's fine.
Oops.
Roll through it.
I didn't know that.
And that's just the first game in what they're calling, quote, a full-scale offensive of Resident Evil to last through the fiscal year, which is the end of March 2017. And so this leads us to question, what's going on with Resident Evil as a series as a whole? Like, we know that they're working on that Resident Evil 2 remake. We know that's something Capcom's working on.
I mean, the remake of Resident Evil 1 was the start of last year. That was really good.
Yeah, I mean the re-release of the remake.
Yes, that was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, you have to figure.
Look, I just don't care. I just don't care about Resident Evil anymore.
See, I feel like I won't care until I see something that makes me care.
Something that's like 1 or 2.
I'm definitely paying enough attention that if they release some crazy trailer, they could get me back. But yeah, like Umbrella Corps and all these spin-off games.
Hey, you know what horror series totally lost its luster? Silent Hill. And you know who won us back?
PT?
Silent Hills. Yeah, that totally won us back by
That is
doing
true.
a single smart.
That is true.
This came out in October of 2015. It was something I wanted to address as well.
Capcom's Resident Evil studio focused on virtual reality. Oh,
So back at where did this come from? There was a earnings report in late 2015 where there was a quote that said, "At present, we are focusing our energy on challenging the virtual reality game market. In this terrifying world, you can twist and turn as you like, but there's no escaping the creatures closing in on you until you remove your VR headset and return to reality. We delivered this very experience with our kitchen VR technical demo at E3. The response was
wait,
excellent."
those guys at the kitchen?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that was the Resident Evil team.
right.
It says, "Currently, we're building a new game development engine able to support VR, which is the hottest market right now, while simultaneously developing titles for current-gen game consoles. We have just set sail on our latest voyage." So that was coming from October 2015.
Oh, so it's going to take place on a boat.
It's going to take place in a
Nice.
boat. So this is interesting for two reasons to me. Obviously, the VR focus, because I think it would make... Damn it. This is relevant for two reasons
There's
to
a
me.
new Beyond Drinking game.
Also, if I say or like, we'll all be dead if we drink. But no,
Yeah.
I think like the VR stuff, whatever, like that market is really crazy and you can experiment in
I like
a
how
lot
they
of
say
ways.
hottest. Like, that's such a vague term. Like, people are interested in it.
Everyone's talking
People
about
sweat
VR.
a lot when they wear those helmets.
But the bigger thing to me is that this is coming from October, and they say we have just set sail on our latest voyage, meaning this may have been in
That's what
development
they're
for a
doing.
while.
Yeah,
And to
that's
Marty's
interesting.
point, like this is something Marty's been saying all day. I'm sorry, did he say interesting?
Yeah, I did.
Damn it. To Marty's point, we may see a Resident Evil that gets the Fallout 4 treatment. Maybe
Yeah.
it's announced at E3 and out in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be crazy.
I would be totally for a Resident Evil VR game. I would be for that.
For Resident Evil.
Because he added its VR.
Oh.
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
No,
Avril
please,
Lavigne. Yeah, I mean, did you get to play the kitchen demo?
No, that's the only one that I haven't played.
Okay, so it's very scary. It's not.
Yes.
It's very minimal interaction. But you're,
I kind of understand what it is. It's basically like you're sitting in a chair.
yeah, you're like a cop who wakes up and he's tied to a chair in a real creepy kitchen, and your partner's all passed out on the floor, and this real scary woman comes in and stabs him, and then you're trying to you're holding the DualShock controller, and it's almost like your hands are tethered. So as you're moving them, it's like you're moving your hands, and you're trying to cut yourself out of the handcuffs or out of the rope. But the woman, you can hear her; she's lurking behind you, and it's one of those like, I don't want to turn around. It's like I don't want to turn around. And then you turn around, she just snarls at you. You eventually get your throat slit. That's not good. Don't get audited because that's bad.
Awful.
Yeah.
But
Sounds very scary though. Weird
yeah,
scary.
It is very scary.
It affected a lot of people. And
Were
a
there
lot of people
spoops?
spoken about it.
Oh, there was
dude,
a
super
large
spooky.
amount of spoops.
Yeah, several spoops.
Too many spoofs for me, I would say.
You just spook
So
yourself.
I played Resident Evil 1 and 2 and really, really liked them, but a very long time ago. So I was really happy when Resident Evil re-released last year because I needed that refresh.
Yeah, it's really like I played. I was gonna say interesting and didn't. Oh, but then I said it anyway.
Dang.
I played Resident Evil 1 and 2 way back in the day. I loved 4. Like at the time, I really liked 4, and then I weirdly played a decent amount of 5 just because it was co-op and I played it with friends. But I didn't really like love it. It was just something we were doing because it was passing the time, basically. Like it was a fun thing in the moment, but looking back on it, that's not a game I have any great love for.
Yeah.
6 totally lost me. 6
I played
was
6 too. and
so
hated
just
it.
over long and jumping back and forth, and it kind of felt like it just lost track of what I think
Yeah.
that franchise was.
Yeah, and it's because the creators of the franchise, Mikami, who created the franchise and did Resident Evil 4, is now at Tango, and they last did Evil Within, and then Kamiya, who directed Resident Evil 2, is at Platinum doing Scalebound and Bayonetta and all that, and so you don't have those like core leaders who were
people.
there from the beginning.
It's also just, I kind of wonder if Resident Evil as a format, like the way that it was originally, I don't know if that would work now. Like the way, as the Evil Within, it kind of works because that's basically modern Resident Evil, but Resident Evil core gameplay, the way that it was, I don't know if it would resonate.
I think they need to rethink all of it.
Yes.
I think honestly at this point, like we need a full-on reboot because one of the things that 6 got people hooked on was, okay, you have Leon, you have Chris, you have everybody, and it's kind of taking all of the characters you know and putting them in one thing. We got that game. Like I feel like we don't need more. Like maybe take Umbrella Corps as like a name and let them start something new. And
Is Umbrella Corps the episodic one?
No, Umbrella. That was.
Because I played some of that too.
no, that's
that was
Revelations.
Revelations.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was Revelations too. Umbrella Corps is a team-based multiplayer shooter.
Yeah.
wow.
But I mean Umbrella Corps as like the
Brand.
the organization
Right,
within
right,
the
right.
series.
Oh,
Like take that, launch something new. Shouldn't be Leon, shouldn't be anyone we've met before. Like start over. I think
Yeah.
would be the best thing for this franchise at this point.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think
VR would also be cool. But
I think totally. I
both
don't
of
think
those
those have
things,
to be separate.
And I think it could be, I mean, maybe, I'm really excited for somebody's conference because I really hope we get these games that are really just exciting and cool and they're for PS4, but then they're like, or play it in PSVR. And it's not like it's required. It's not like you only buy PSVR for it, but there's a VR kind of version of it, or maybe VR specific missions or something like
I don't know
that.
how that works in terms of development. Like,
That's the thing.
I don't know how that would function.
Well, and that's why this Capcom statement is, well, I mean, it is interesting. I'm taking it back.
Oh, he's bringing it.
Because what it says is, currently we are building a new game development engine able to support VR while simultaneously developing titles for current gen game
Right.
consoles.
Yeah, that's
And
what I would have thought they would need to do is build an engine for it because totally don't know much about development. But VR games, because the 360 and regular games aren't, I feel like the world is bent differently.
Well,
Like,
you're making an assumption that that's the way the game's going to be. You reviewed Chronos, which is totally
it's basically like
heavily
Resident
inspired
Evil.
by Resident Evil,
That's
yeah.
true, where it has like a fixed, I don't want to say fixed camera, but a fixed point.
Yeah,
And then
it's
you
almost,
control the camera
Your head's
from
almost
that.
like a tripod in a room,
Yeah,
and you can't really leave
but
the tripod.
I even wrote in my review of that game that it was Resident Evil inspired. So that would obviously
Resident
work.
Resident Evil has expired. It's the old milk of franchises.
old
Ew.
milk of franchises in engine.
Yeah,
Already-
I've changed my mind. I
dang.
said that I didn't care, but now I do care.
Yeah.
Well, is that, and
You
that's
guys did a
what's
real
so
good
funny.
job of that.
Like I don't care until I start talking about it, and I'm like, oh, I kind of care.
Yeah, I care a
Yeah.
little bit.
I would totally play. I don't want franchises to be bad. It's not like
Totally.
I'm like, haha, Resident Evil fans, like you get what you deserve or something. Like, no, like I want everyone to have fun, awesome games. It's
Yeah.
just this thing where like I'm so tired of the
Totally.
world they've built.
Yeah.
And that's why I would love to see a clean slate. And they can do
I mean, that's how I feel about Assassin's Creed, which
Yeah.
they kind
They're
of have
taking a
done.
year off,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm very that's another franchise where I'm just very curious what that will look like
I
when it
just
comes
don't
back.
care anymore.
Tomorrow we get the
But if
actually
we spoke about it, I'm sure I could.
You go to Egypt, you get to run up a pyramid.
that's the secret to caring is just talking about it.
Wow, yeah.
I think
Relationship advice with Andrew Goldfarb.
tomorrow, yeah, I'm the one to ask. Tomorrow is our first look at the Assassin's Creed trailer for the movie.
Yes.
So that'll be a really
It's going to premiere on the James Camel show.
Exciting.
I think it's going to be interesting.
If you're listening to the audio version, you should have seen Marty's face just then. But
How would you have described it?
blank. It was very blank.
handsome.
Aw. Moving on.